Hot, warm, cold. The whole goal is they go on the journey with you and understanding where they're starting, where they need to go next, and not get impatient with the process. You've got to have elements for all of them on your website. It's still important, but recognize that success for each group will look different. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Patience on Demand. I'm excited to share with you today about the difference between hot, cold, and warm leads and what that means for your website. I want to first share with you, I'm in a few awesome masterminds and we've had a few new members join that I'm getting to know. And I feel like this whole episode reminded me of making new friends, right? Sometimes when you're meeting new people, it's like a cold situation, right? You're not sure how to read them. They're not sure how to read you. You're trying to figure out if you're even going to like them, if you're going to get along. And then as you slowly get to know them, all of a sudden they're a little warmer. They're a little nicer. They realize you're not just going to yell at them and make fun of them or be really rude. And so they start opening up a little bit. You open up a little bit. And then before you know it, after a few days of sharing all your crap in your business and what's going on, you realize, okay, this person's pretty cool. I can trust them. We're good. Well, that evolution is similar to what goes on with people when it comes to your website, your brand, your PT clinic, getting to know, like, and trust you. And I wanted to really dive deep into what I mean by hot, cold, and warm, and what that means for your website and how your website plays in each of those today. So let's start with the cold traffic. These are the people, these are like those friends, right? That you've never met before. It's like, hi, I'm so-and-so. What happens next? When cold people visit your website, they are literally so cold that they've never interacted with your brand before. They've never seen your ads. They've never been to your website. They've really never heard of you. Your name's totally unfamiliar. You are just another thing out there that they've never heard of, just like the next guy down the street, okay? They are cold, and I mean frigid. And the purpose of your website for these people is to really introduce them to you, to your message, and to connect with them emotionally so they'll stay around, hang out, and do the little chit chat, right? If you have somebody who comes up and shakes your hand and is just like, hi, I'm Christine. And then all I did was literally turn around and turn my back to you, close my arms, and keep my mouth shut. Yeah, that would not be a very good first impression. So your website actually, for these people, is supposed to do the exact opposite. It's supposed to be polite. It's supposed to start with a little bit of small chat. It's supposed to say, here's who we can help and here's how we can bring you along in our journey. It's supposed to connect a little bit with them so that they don't feel afraid. So they don't feel like you're turning your back on them, shutting your mouth, and maybe even closing your eyes or acting like a little kid. But that being said, you've got to understand that the majority, about 60 to 80% of the people who come to your website are these cold leads. They are finding you and they don't know what to think of you. Literally, this is your first impression chance. And it's really important that your website shows up and that it does a good job. Because if it doesn't, they're walking away. They're hitting the back button. They're going to look at the next person who might be slightly more warmer in their reception. So remember, cold leads are a lot of your visitors. And you need to really consider on your website, are you doing what you need to do for them? Because while hot leads, we're going to talk about in a second, on the other hand, are just ready to come to your website, pick up the phone and dial, not so much these people. Not so much. So what are you doing? Are you being welcoming? Are you putting your best foot forward? I'd say from some of the websites I've been sent lately, plenty of PTs are not putting their best foot forward. It's crushing them online. It's crushing them with their reputation. Because when people find out about you and become warm leads, such as when they maybe heard about you, maybe a doctor mentioned it, maybe a friend mentioned it, maybe another healthcare provider referred them, they go check you out, right? Just like if somebody says, hey, I've got a good new dentist, go to them. I don't call up and make an appointment. I go check them out. I look them up online. That's what I did recently last year when I had to switch dentists. The warm people have seen and heard about you before. They've had some form of interaction. Maybe it was just viewing your ad. Maybe it was they saw an ad on Facebook. They didn't click, but you piqued their interest a little. And so they decided to look you up. Maybe their friend said, oh, I had back pain. Christine fixed it up real quick. You should go check her out. Oh, what's her business? Here's a name. Oh, okay, I'll look that up. My favorite thing is warm leads do make up about a quarter at most of your website, but they are people who have heard about you elsewhere, and they could just get in touch with you. They could, because they'll land on your website, and they could just get in touch with you and call you right now, but they don't. And let's talk about why. I love, one of my favorite things that makes me smiles every time is people come to me and they're like, well, my website's not working. And I'm like, I look at their analytics. I'm like, oh, but you got like 10 leads. What do you mean your website's not working? Oh, well, those were all referrals. Okay, but you're telling me that those referrals, so-and-so knew so-and-so, and so she came that way. The doctor recommended so-and-so. I'm like, yeah, but you're telling me all those referrals came to your website and didn't just pick up the phone or didn't just take the number the doctor gave you and just called you, right? No, instead they came to your website and they did something else. They filled out a form. They took a free download. They didn't immediately go to converting. They needed more interaction. They needed more than just the word of the doctor, the word of your friend, the word of the yoga instructor that said you were the best. They may not have converted without your website. Those are still leads from your website, even when somebody else said you need to go check them out. Unless they go, you need to check them out. Here's their number. Hi. Pick up the phone and call. Your website played a huge role in that. They needed more proof. They needed more awareness. They needed more information. When you get a lead from your website, a lot of them are warm. They're warm, okay? They've decided to take a step. We've gotten the ice cubes of the cold leads to melt a little bit. They've decided to take a step, but they haven't taken like a huge step. We haven't leaped like 4 stairs here. We didn't just automatically pick up the phone. We didn't just walk into your clinic. We took the next step, which is exactly appropriate for warm leads, and why with your website, we've got to have elements for warm leads to take the next step. Now, you're probably wondering then what's a warm lead versus a hot lead? Well, then the hot leads, they only visit your website because they need to know the location and or your phone number. And then they go. They take that information, they run with it. Those are the hot leads. You actually don't get a ton of them visiting your website all the time. Your website is primarily used for people trying to learn more. Think about it. Once you become a patient, how many times do you go back to your doctor's website? I know, hardly ever. There's not much reason to. There may be some small exceptions to this, but on the whole, the people who, once they become a patient, they don't need to go to your website. And yet, why are so many PTs trying to build their websites for their current patients? It's a good question. It's a good question I challenge you all to think about. So the key here is hot leads will show up to your website. They're going to be the people that literally, oh, I needed to know where it was. Oh, I needed to know their phone number right now. That sort of action. The warm ones are the ones that are getting closer to that. But they need more information. They need more connection first. And that's why you see them do things like download stuff, fill out forms, maybe watch your videos, go on your social media and interact there. That's what they're trying to do. They're information gathering. The cold leads, they're the ones experiencing you for the first time. Your goal with a cold lead isn't to have them convert immediately. They're not going to. The goal is to have everything there so that you pique their interest and they stay and don't go explore other people. That's a win for a cold lead. So as you're considering your website, you've got to make sure you have the elements for all 3 of these buckets. Yes, some of these buckets are bigger than others, but you want to have all of them. You don't want to not, I can't tell you how many PTs websites I've looked at that don't even have a phone number at the top of the website. Do you want to miss out on that hot lead that's the easiest to convert because they're trying to call you right now? No! You've got to have elements for all of them on your website. It's still important. But recognize that success for each group will look different. Hot, warm, cold, the whole goal is they go on the journey with you and understanding where they're starting, where they need to go next, and not get impatient with the process. Take this information this week, reconsider what you have going on with your process, with your nurture system, with how your website is interacting and furthering this process. And I'll look forward to bringing you some more gold next week.